Hi. Welcome to the first panel. The title of the panel is Bring Your Educational Journey Up to Speed, Why Accessibility Matters. I'm honored to moderate the discussion. And in the session, we'll explore the role of higher education in preparing learners for the labor market through the creation of an inclusive ecosystem for all. We'll touch on best practices in curriculum design, explore policy gaps, and hear real-world examples of how accessibility and designs for all can shape the educational journey of students. The goal is to move beyond theory and share practical examples and ideas for action. And I think this will be possible due to the distinguished panelists that we have who will bring comprehensive perspectives to the discussion. Our distinguished panelists are professor, all of them, unfortunately, were not able to attend face-to-face. That's why I'm standing so that I'm able to exchange questions with them and see them. It's Professor Isabel Martinez Lozano, Mrs. Roberta Lully, and Professor Lubomir Misevich. Did I say that?
Because, yeah.
Yeah. Hi.
Hi,
Roberta,
everyone.
Hi. Roberta is actually in Cyprus, but she got sick this morning. So unfortunately, she will miss the session face-to-face, but we are in the age of technology, so we are fine. We'll be able to manage through technology. So first, I'll start by saying a few things about our panelists. Isabel Martinez Lozano has a bachelor's degree in journalism from the Complutense University of Madrid, a master's degree in sustainability, corporate social responsibility, and public leadership from the University of Valencia, and a PhD in sociology from the same university. She has served as Secretary General for Equality Policies and at the Ministry of Equality of Spain. And she currently serves as Director of University Programs and Youth Talent Development at Once Foundation. Once Foundation is an organization dedicated to promoting the full social inclusion of people with disabilities through the provision of training and employment opportunities and the advancement of universal accessibility of products, services, and environment. Isabel is also president of the Help Age International Spain Foundation. Roberta Lully is a policy officer at the European Disability Forum, working on projects such as data on digital skills and technological assistance for employment, and Athena on accessibility in higher education. She previously supported the UN Special Rapporteur on the rights of persons with disabilities and trained humanitarian workers on accessibility through the VVT project. She has more than 10 years of experience contributing to European accessibility standardization, including the European Accessibility Act, SAC, and SAGA. Lubomir Misevich is a professor of architecture at the University of Zagreb's Faculty of Architecture and is Croatia's AccessibleEU national expert. A licensed architect and urban planner and a scientist, he has more than 40 years of higher education experience at the Faculty of Architecture, where he leads courses on architectural design and has long taught about sustainable, energy efficient and universal design. He authored all programs and architectural drawings for Croatia's ordinance on ensuring the accessibility of buildings, standards applied for over 2 decades and recently adopted as a technical regulation by the Croatian government. He has co-authored widely distributed implementation manuals. He serves as president of the Committee for Accessibility in Architecture at the Croatian Chamber of Architects. Okay, he has led numerous EU projects like the rest of the plenary speakers also, and other award-winning initiatives in sustainability, heritage, and inclusive design. So our discussion will be debate style, no presentations or slides, so that we can have a lively exchange of ideas among our panelists. After hearing from our panelists, we'll open the floor for discussion. So if you have some questions, please note them so that you can raise them at the end of the discussion. So let's get started by me raising a broad question to all panelists. Why does accessibility matter in higher education today, particularly in preparing students for the labor market? So who wants to start? Isabel, you want to start?
Sí, buenos días. Buenos días. Muchas gracias, María. Lamento no poder hacer mi intervención en inglés, la voy a hacer en español y mi compañera va a ayudar a la traducción. Lamento no poder estar presencialmente en esta reunión tan importante y con panelistas y participantes tan interesantes, pero bueno, ahí va mi primera reflexión. Primero, en España, yo creo que también en Europa, el número de personas con discapacidad que acceden a la universidad sigue siendo muy reducido, sigue siendo una minoría. En España apenas representan el 2%, poco más de 20.000 personas, alumnos con discapacidad acceden a la universidad y por tanto la accesibilidad es clave para aumentar el acceso de las personas con discapacidad a estudios superiores. Ese es uno de nuestros grandes desafíos, aumentar el número de personas con discapacidad con estudios superiores. Y para eso hace falta accesibilidad de los entornos, de las facultades, de las residencias universitarias, pero mucha accesibilidad tecnológica, digital, de las plataformas, accesibilidad de las metodologías docentes y aplicar y desarrollar el sentido de la accesibilidad en su sentido más integral y holístico en el sistema universitario. Y segundo, es importante la accesibilidad para los futuros profesionales que salen de las universidades. Y por eso es importante, ya se ha dicho anteriormente, que los futuros abogados, arquitectos, maestros, investigadores sepan de accesibilidad. Y ahí es importante que los currículum formativos incluyan esas asignaturas en todas las disciplinas. Y luego, por último, creo que también es importante mencionar la importancia de la ciencia inclusiva. En España estamos trabajando desde Fundación 11, hemos empezado a trabajar con el CSIC, primero para que la ciencia incluya la perspectiva accesible y también para que las personas con discapacidad puedan desarrollar su carrera investigadora.
Well, good morning, everyone. Isabel started saying that she would love to be there with all of you in Cyprus. Unfortunately, it was not possible. So, answering the question, Isabel explained that, first of all, in Spain and in Europe, people with disabilities who access higher education remain a minority. Only about 2% of students are students with disabilities. We are talking around 20,000 students. Accessibility is key to ensuring and expanding the access of people with disabilities to higher education. We are talking about physical, technological, but especially methodological accessibility. It should be applied, the accessibility should be applied and developed in a comprehensive and holistic way. Second, Isabel explained that it is important that future professionals are aware of accessibility and integrate it into their professional practices. We are talking about lawyers, doctors, architects, researchers, and others. And also, it is really important that inclusive science is carried out from an inclusive perspective. So Isabel explained that here in Fundación 11, we have a collaboration with the Spanish National Research Council, CSIC. And so in two ways, we are trying that all research have inclusion from the beginning in their perspective, but also trying that more and more researchers with disabilities are part of this big group of researchers. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Isabel. Thank you, Silvia. Okay, now Roberta, can you?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Maria, for your introduction and for this question. Yeah, well, accessibility in higher education is often seen as a way to support students with disabilities, which is important, but it's much more than that. So accessibility as a transformative power and is a professional skills, a way of thinking. And I really believe, of course, but also the representing EDF, the European Disability Forum, we really believe that accessibility should be integrated in higher education curricula across different disciplines, because shapes future professionals and also how the professionals of tomorrow think, will act and innovate. So imagine an engineer designing a new device, or an architect creating a public space, or a recruiter preparing a job description, or just a journalist creating a new content. If they don't have a proper understanding of how to create accessible environment, services, content, information, they just create something that works, of course, but probably doesn't work for everyone. So by teaching accessibility across disciplines, higher education prepare all students not only for the first job, but for making workplaces better and inclusive for everyone. So this is where accessibility as a skill becomes transformative, can transform the open labor market. Let's consider, for example, the reality of the employment for persons with people with disabilities. People with disability struggle to find a job, not because they lack skills or ambition or talent, because workplaces workplaces and recruitment system are designed without inclusion in mind. This is the reality, and they are inaccessible work environment, rigid hiring processes. The system itself was never built to include them. So in this way, for student learning accessibility transformative, because and for me this is really important. It gives a sense of responsibility. So the knowledge that they work and make a real difference in people's lives. Accessibility is not just, it shouldn't be just another academic subject. It changes how the students see their role in society. They can realize that the technologies that they build, or the policy they write, or the services they deliver can open doors, not create barriers for millions of people. And I really think that students can become drivers of change of the labor market, in the open labor market, let's say, because as I said, many of today's students will be tomorrow professionals, which means managers, entrepreneurs, policymakers, and employers. If they graduate with accessibility as a core value, they can build workplaces, technologies, services, communication that include everyone. And also, of course, can expand opportunities. If we design accessible products, services, systems, students can make the open labor market himself more open to people who are currently excluded, such as people with disabilities. And also, for me, two things are really important: changing the workplace culture. When graduates enter in the industries and companies with the knowledge of accessibility, they bring fresh ideas, and also they raise expectations, new expectations. They really challenge the old way of doing things, managing work environment, and push for more inclusive practices. The last one, which is in link with this one, is setting new norms. So if accessibility becomes part of the DNA of the world generation of professionals, it shifts from be an optional, like extra, to being the normal standard across industries. So yes, embedding accessibility in higher education, it matters, but doesn't just prepare students, it keeps them to lead the transformation of the open labor market into a more innovative and truly inclusive. It is something that we really needed. Thank you.
Thanks, Roberta. And Lubomir?
Here I am. Hello to everyone. Good morning, good day from Zagreb, Croatia. What to say? First of all, thanks for this opportunity to participate in such a strong and very important conference as colleagues at the opening pointed out. And let me tell you, it's not improvising, but just I'm trying, and because of timing, by the way, not to repeat some facts that dear lady colleagues, Isabel and Roberta said before. Let's start in short. Accessibility is requirement of our civilization. For how long we have to repeat to all of us that it is a declaration of the United Nations, and everyone should know who kids in primary school, then pupils in secondary schools, okay, prepared to enter at universities, prepared to enter in higher education program, syllabus, or programs of study and so on, belong for such kids, let's say, okay? Because if we have experience, as I had some 30 years plus before that, students are there without any basic information. This is changing our times, but it has to be done. As colleague Vice Rector Loisos Simonou said, accessibility in action. This conference is a perfect primer that this can be possible, okay? It means, you will see at the end, because I prepared the proposal and idea, concept, how to go on the level of European Union, not only on the level of our national experiences and documents and so on and so on. We have to be sure, as we are participants of this conference, especially normally persons with disabilities, that it has to be done more. It has to be, and it is not difficult, but project, or regarding to the fact that the project, 4 years project, we are now ending the 3rd year of this project, Accessible Europe. It has to be sense, our general sense, not only in the European Union, that was not happened before. That was nothing similar before. So 4 years, we are a big family working hard regarding to Accessible Resource Center in Madrid, where I hope our dear Jesus Hernandez, our deputy director, is watching us and thinking about. So in short, this is this. We have to prepare students and this generation of humans to continue in LLL, famous long life learning. So we have to make this European Union balanced information in our syllabuses, in our curriculums, okay, to be useful for their next duties, thinking on the effect of problems in employment. And it is more and more stories and more effects of long stories about assistance. There was no assistance regulated like today. That was not before decades, before 10, 20, 30 years. I'm a witness because I'm making this balancing from my personal experience as an architect, engineer, and professor with this 40 plus years of experience. So I'm very, very glad that this is going on. This is a part not only of my dream. This conference will be perfect because simply it has to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Lubomir. I think all three panelists have made a very convincing argument as to why accessibility is so important in higher education, particularly in preparing our students for the labor market. Now I'm gonna move to specific targeted questions to each panelist based on their background and work activities. I start with Isabel. What strategies has one's foundation developed to promote, accessibility and universal design in higher education, and what institutional or policy challenges remain?
Gracias por la pregunta. Bueno, decía uno de los ponentes en la mesa inaugural que hay que generar mentalidad accesible. Eso es muy importante, la mentalidad accesible. Por tanto, una de las estrategias que estamos haciendo desde Fundación 11 es asesorar y formar al personal docente. Tenemos una línea permanente de colaboración con las universidades españolas para formar al personal docente y técnico de las universidades. También hemos elaborado recursos y guías para la accesibilidad tecnológica en las aulas, para cómo hacer accesible la tecnología que se aplica por parte del profesorado. También hemos elaborado con la Conferencia de Rectores de las Universidades Españolas unas guías curriculares que se han elaborado con profesionales y profesores de todas las universidades de España para que se puedan desarrollar en cada una de las carreras, de las disciplinas, de los grados en todas las universidades. Y hacemos ese seguimiento para que estas guías se puedan utilizar. Tenemos un banco de productos de apoyo que ofrecemos gratuitamente a las universidades para aquellos alumnos, alumnas y universidades que no pueden permitirse el costo de ofrecer esos productos de apoyo para facilitar la accesibilidad a algunos estudiantes que requieren productos de apoyo. Desarrollamos decenas de actividades de seminarios, congresos anuales con las universidades, especialmente con las facultades de Ciencias de la Educación, de Ciencias del Deporte, para que también los futuros profesionales de la educación y del deporte incorporen estrategias de accesibilidad y de inclusión en su desarrollo profesional y docente. Y también tenemos una línea de ayudas a las universidades y a los estudiantes para garantizar las inversiones y los recursos necesarios para promover la accesibilidad y también ayudas para que los estudiantes puedan desarrollar su carrera académica. He dicho muchas ideas juntas, pero espero que Silvia ahora lo pueda resumir en inglés.
I try. So Isabel started saying that she's completely agree with the words of one of the first speakers, saying that what we need is an accessible mind. That's what we need, and that's what she's saying is really important. And thinking on that, she explained the different strategies that from this department in Fundación Once, we are a department that work with universities. So she explained all the strategies that we do from here. The first of all is we promote accessibility to improve access, academic progress, and graduation, enhancing the employability of university graduates. We create programs and strategies jointly with the Conference of Rectors of Spanish Universities and with the universities themselves to ensure coordinated and effective action. We rely on the Spanish legal framework. We not only rely, we have a saying before the law is done, we comment the law with authorities and because our expertise. So we rely on the Spanish legal framework on universities that is the organic law of the university system to reinforce inclusion and accessibility in higher education. We provide the scholarships and grants for students and universities to foster equal opportunities. We deliver training and advisory programs for faculty and disability. We advocate to ensure compliance with regulations and to promote inclusive public policies. We also have created guidelines, curriculum guidelines in the different knowledge areas. So future professionals, they can be doctors or lawyers, the teachers of these future professionals, they can have a guideline of how to make this curricular accessible. I try.
Your question, yes, sorry. I forgot.
Don't worry, I have it from before. Don't worry.
I wanted to ask you about the architectural education, how you apply accessibility and universal design in architectural education and professional practice, and to give us examples maybe from curriculum, maybe from student projects that you give to your architectural students, because yeah, like Isabel said, it's very important to see it in many different disciplines, to see how accessibility is applied in many different disciplines. Okay?
Thank you. Evharisto Maria. So wonderful, wonderful question for me, and not only for me. In Faculty of Architecture, Faculty of Architecture in Zagreb, we start very early to inform students. We start with accessibility regarding to book that we have for. Oh, that's a problem. Sorry. Now you can see me, yes?
Yes, yes.
But you heard what I said before. So we have a book for some 15 years for students on the second semester. On the first year, which is a official book for this colleague that is called Introduction to Design of Housing Architecture. And then as follows, through all other years in bachelor, first 3 years of study, we have in various ways, let's say, depending mostly on professors and their methodology and their interest and their responsibility. We have another book. This is a book about accessibility, especially for schools, for architecture for schools and learning, okay? And then in master, I established a colleague, but only for my students, for a group of, let's say, up to 20, 25 students, including students from European Union in program of Erasmus. So this is a fact that we have to exchange this knowledge through programs of European Union that we have. We had Erasmus Global, or we had it. I'm not quite sure. And not to forget and to continue on this fact that we are responsible in higher education to prepare students, not only in the sense of employment and their next career and so on, but we have to prepare them to continue their professional work in all these 5, if not more, pillar topics that are built environment, transport, okay, up to regulation, because some of them will work immediately, not in commissions or with decision makers, but they will participate as young collaborators and so on and so on. Let me finish how it's going in the Zagreb School of Architecture, including projects on diploma, like in Nicosia, I'm sure, like everywhere, because this topic is open to everyone. And I have to say that to be objective and to be real, that this topic in our schooling is getting better from day to day. But still, it is not a requirement for all colleagues. Still, it is not official requirement in the syllabus, in our program of learning in higher education. And this is appeal. So this is our together wish to balance these programs on the level of European Union as soon as possible, ASAP. And not to forget, we have chambers of architects, for example. We have associations who are taking care, not only associations for persons with disabilities. We have a lot of other associations who are taking care as they can in their programs, in their interest, and so on. So it is a big, huge adversary that exists not only in the European Union. So my first experience in this topic was when I was in the United States of America in 1985, looking to so much former soldiers using these wheelchairs and so on. So exactly 40 years before in my life, I started to think about topic and to participate in the best way I can. And let me tell you that this is maybe, or it will be the last comment, but we are very short in time. So we have it as lectures, I mean, accessibility in architecture that includes urban planning or physical planning and interior design. We have a study of design, which is more speaking about universal design. By the way, I started to speak about universal design as far as famous Victor Papanek. Please save a name. Look it, Victor Papanek wrote down a perfect book, Design for Real World. He became honorable PhD of Zagreb University after a lecture that I organized at Faculty of Architecture decades ago. So speaking about inclusiveness, speaking about inclusive design, and so on, this is the first book for all of us, and very good and the best practice in this sense. So not to forget professional institutions, chambers of civil engineers, chambers of mechanical engineer, not to, in Croatia we have a faculty that is called in translation for education and rehabilitation. So they are speaking about cognitive problems to all the others, they have their curriculum, but still we don't have something balanced in the same university. I hope that it will be 2 minutes more for me, Maria, at the end, because I have a proposal and because there is a wonderful coincidence on the fact that this conference is on Cyprus, on Mediterranean. So I will tell it in a few minutes later. Ευχαριστώ, Maria.
Παρακαλώ. Okay, so now Roberta, because you had a key role in the Athena project, can you please share with us your experiences, the key lessons, the key outcomes that emerged from the project in embedding accessibility and design for all into higher education curricula? And also maybe tell us about the major barriers you encountered when trying to scale the Athena recommendations across institutions and countries.
Yeah, the Athena project, the main goal was to integrating accessibility and universal design principle into higher education curricula across disciplines by developing a set of recommendations. And we developed this recommendation for different kind of actors, not just for policymakers, but also for accreditation bodies, for higher education institutions, calling for at least one explicit learning outcome on accessibility in every study program. The project was concluded in June successfully. Was a great achievement thanks to the work of our university partners. I've just coordinated the project, but the European University of Cyprus, Universitat Autónoma de Barcelona, JKU University of Linz, and Masaryk University did a really great job. We had different key areas. So at the beginning, we analyzed more than 168 curricula in the countries of partners countries, Austria, Cyprus, Czechia, and Spain. And we identified where accessibility and universal design were already integrated and where gaps remain. And we saw that the most higher education curriculum did not include accessibility and universal design. So when these did appear, they were usually in a few courses created by academics with a personal interest in the topic, or in programs linked to disability studies or assistive technologies. And for example, the accessibility were more in education, health, ICT, and social sciences, more than business and arts and humanities. One of the main achievement was between partners that we developed 5 simple models, from audiovisual translation and accessibility in Spain to technology and accessibility in inclusive education in European University of Cyprus, digital accessibility in Austria and in Czechia. So these they are simple models ready to use, a template for universities. And great examples are from our partner university, because they have adopted accessibility not as an extra service, but a part of their system. I have one concrete example just to tell that, for example, Masaryk University in Czech Republic developed a course of digital accessibility course last year during the academic 2024-2025. And this course trained 28 students in accessible digital design, including hands-on practice with screen readers, creating barriers-free websites. It was really, it demonstrated that accessibility can be embedded, not just as a theoretical subject, but also as a practical. And one of the, different key lessons emerged from the Athena project. First of all, when we ran the focus group, was that accessibility must be mainstreamed. So focus groups with academic students, experts show the strong consensus that accessibility should not be for just a small group, but should be a transversal topic across disciplines. The awareness and training as essential. We discovered that's one of the barriers, for example, when we talk to the educators and teachers and also students. So many educators lack preparation to teach accessibility. So one lesson is that the capacity building for teachers and staff is as critical as a curriculum reform themselves. And also one of the main things that emerged was the user involvement is super important. It's really transformative. Especially the project, TINA project, put people with disability at the center of curriculum design and evaluation. So it's important because of their lived experiences and the real world examples. It really helps raise awareness among both academic staff and students. And also one which is really kind of can be a challenge, let's say. Athena recommendation highlights that systemic change requires embedding accessibility into accreditation criteria and even national legislations. So only with the systematic change, also at the national level, with a different framework, we can see accessibility shift from optional to mandatory. So the key message from this project was very simple but powerful. Accessibility is not a technical add-on, but it's a matter of educational quality, it's social justice. So by equipping graduates in all fields with accessible skills, higher education can shape a generation ready to design a world for all. But we need, of course, the commitment of different stakeholders, for policymakers, for the governments, educational department, with different stakeholders, just to make a real change, just to transform accessibility from optional to mandatory. Thank you.
Thanks, Roberta. Now we're to have some discussion about policy gaps, but I think already the panelists have mentioned some gaps. It's better, I think, to open the floor for questions from the audience as we are running out of time. And then Lubomir is gonna say, he said he needs 2 minutes, and the panelists will give some closing recommendations, comments. But now let's hear from the audience. Any questions, any reflections you would like to share with our panelists?
Thank you, Maria. We actually have a lot of people attending the event online. I was saying, like right now we have more than 200 people. One of them is Sufyan El Amrani, who's from Inclusion Europe. He actually had a statement that he wanted to raise, and then I have a question as well from another participant. Hello, my name is Sufyan. I work for Inclusion Europe. My statement is on, and question is on the fact that teacher needs to be trained and know how they can help students with disabilities, and the classroom should be made accessible for people with intellectual disabilities. When teaching, teachers need to speak slowly so the student who has a disability can understand what the teacher is talking about, and the information that the teacher is using needs to be provided in easy to read format as well. That was the statement from Sufyan. We also have another question for the panelists. If they could talk a little bit about the current strategies in European universities for autism and dyslexia. What are the exam and study lengths, accommodations, for instance, regarding autism and dyslexia? And then we also have another statement from Marilyn Thomas in France on the fact that over there architecture programs include very few hours on accessibility. And she offers to give lectures at several of the architecture schools there, and still waiting for some answers from those universities. So there you go, 2 statements and 1 question regarding dyslexia and autism.
Okay, maybe we, the first question was about teacher the need for teacher education, right? And also about accessibility in classrooms.
Yeah, like it was more the statement on about this for people with intellectual disabilities and the importance of easy to read format and easy to read materials, and then a question around the strategies and measures taken to support students with autism and dyslexia.
Okay, and no,
I can
yeah.
I can add something.
Okay, sure.
From the statement within the Athena project, because we know that some curriculum curriculum remain not accessible for persons with disability in the way professor teaching courses. We developed, because we, as a European Disability Forum, we couldn't develop a simple model, but we developed like a train the trainers course, let's say, because we know that teachers don't know how to create use a plain language, for example, or why is important to create an easy to read version of a lesson, for example. We of course, it's just a pilot training, and we would like to implement the results of Athena project in another following project. But it's I agree with Sofan, because it remain like a barrier. So the teachers and professors, they don't really know how to teach and how it's important to make the lesson accessible, for example. And then there is another aspect, that's to make reasonable accommodation. So they really need to see the needs of the student. They really need to check what kind of accommodations is needed in the context. So there are two different aspects that I wanted to highlight it.
So Roberta, in your research that you did through Athena, did you see examples of good practice of where accommodations were provided? And
yeah, there are good practices around Europe, I have to say, more than this is more like a accommodation and services than integrating curriculum and integrate accessibility and design for all in the curriculum. So universities are getting more, let's say, open to make digital accessible, for example, or improve the class. So it's a different really topic from integrating accessibility and design for all into higher education curricula. It is still important, of course, it's linked, and but yeah, so there are good examples, good universities, also the Athena Partners University, they do they are doing a great job on this.
Thank you. And there was a question about dyslexia and autism. Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Yeah, the question was around current strategies used by universities regarding support for students with dyslexia or in the autism spectrum. If there are any thoughts that panelists could share on that.
Maybe Isabel can. Yeah,
Sí, es muy interesante las preguntas que hace el compañero. Es verdad que en los últimos años está aumentando de manera notable el número de alumnos con este tipo de discapacidad psicosocial en las aulas. Hay una auténtica desorientación por parte del profesorado para abordar este tipo de discapacidades. Nosotros hemos intensificado con las oficinas de atención a la discapacidad que existen como obligación legal en todas las universidades para que estén formados y dar respuesta a las características de este alumnado. Y sobre la discapacidad intelectual, sí me gustaría comentarles uno de los programas estrella que tenemos en Fundación 11 y del que nos sentimos muy orgullosos, porque hemos logrado a través del programa Universidad, llevar a las universidades españolas a los jóvenes con discapacidad intelectual. Hemos diseñado con 34 universidades en España programas de formación universitaria para jóvenes con discapacidad intelectual, adaptados a sus características. Es un programa muy revolucionario. Hay 500 alumnos con discapacidad intelectual cada curso en estas 34 universidades y realmente es un alumnado que está rompiendo el paradigma de la inclusión dentro del sistema universitario español. Y creo que ese es uno de los caminos también que hay que transitar de cara al futuro. La universidad tiene que estar abierta a todo tipo de discapacidades y eso significa tener que implementar metodologías docentes inclusivas para este alumnado. Yo creo que estamos, y con esto termino, en un momento trascendental en el cambio de los modelos universitarios europeos. Tenemos unas leyes europeas y nacionales muy garantistas, muy buenos marcos normativos, y es el momento de pasar a la buena política pública y que esas buenas leyes se traduzcan en buena política pública en el ámbito de la educación especialmente, que es de lo que estamos hablando hoy. Y en ese sentido nos quedan unos años en los que hay que hacer muchísima incidencia en todas estas estrategias y reformas que tienen que ir acompañando a todas las reformas que se están desarrollando en el sistema universitario para que las personas con discapacidad aprovechen estas oportunidades de cambio para tener más oportunidades de desarrollo académico y profesional.
If I can add something in 1 minute.
Yes, sure.
At university in Zagreb, and I would like to know if there is similar examples. We have hardworking and very effective working office for the students with disabilities. Where doctors are including and psychologists and so on, because we who are teaching, we are not experts for solving of various problems in different diagnoses. So this is my recommendation. This office in Zagreb works perfect. I was coordinator for faculty of architecture for almost 15 years. And this works, and it's very, very important. Thanks.
Thanks. Okay.
Sorry, can I speak?
Yes, sure. Yeah.
Sorry about it. I just want to translate really fast
Yes, Silvia.
what Isabel was saying. So Isabel explained that in the last years, the number of students with autism and dyslexia, like someone was asking, the number is increasing in all the universities. And the problem is the professors knows a little bit about it. So we have a big challenge there. We need to train professors, and that's what we are trying to do from here, from Fundación Once. And also she wanted to explain about one of our star programs, a program that we are really, really proud, is the program Unidiversity. University, diversity, we already know. And it's only for students with intellectual disabilities. We are working with 34 universities in Spain. And so they build programs, and we finance the programs with the help of the European Social Fund. And we have more than 500 students working in programs inside the universities, only for them. We are talking about intellectual universities. That's really important. And Isabel explained that this is one of the paths that we need to follow. That's what we need for the future. Universities should be open for the change, but especially, and that's why the program University is working, we should rethink the methodologies that we are using currently. the model, the system model of universities should go to a different step, should change, basically. We need good public policies, and the years that are coming are to work in strategies to reform the system, basically. I think that I summarize everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Silvia. Thanks. Maybe Isabel gave an answer to the last question I would like to ask the panelists before closing up. I wanted to ask them to look ahead and tell us what one milestone or change within the next 5 years they think would signal a real progress in integrating accessibility effectively into higher education across Europe. I think Isabel gave a lot of insights, but so you each take 1 minute to tell us your vision, what you think your recommendation for a real change. And we finish for today. Yes. And he tells us what he would like to share with us.
Sí, yo creo que todas las universidades deben de hacer una auditoría de accesibilidad para poder revisar cuáles son sus prácticas y poder reformar esas prácticas no inclusivas que siguen existiendo en las universidades. Sería muy recomendable esas auditorías de accesibilidad y poder trabajar en red todas las universidades europeas dentro de programas como Uni4All, donde tratamos de identificar a esas universidades que trabajan por la inclusión, para trabajar todas con las mismas estrategias.
Silvia, would you like to translate?
Yes, I'm coming. Sorry. So Isabel was saying that, give me a second, sorry. Yeah, Isabel was saying that it's really important that all the universities make a self-assessment of their practices and culture, so they can understand what they are doing. They can do this exercise by themselves, but also Isabel was talking about audits, so that they really know, by experts, know what practices they have. Are they really inclusive? Do they need to change things? Well, that's one of the part of the answer. And the other part of the answer is that once the universities make this audit, that is really important, they also can work in a network. That's why we have a program here that is Uni4All network. We did it from Fundación Once. So she's saying that programs like that are important, and we are open to work with all the universities. Some of them have worked with us in the past, but we are always looking for new opportunities of working together with the universities. Thank you.
Thanks. Roberta, your recommendation, thoughts?
Well, I have not recommendation, but like kind of call to action. So with Athena project, develop a policy. We develop a policy position paper, especially has been developed by the European University of Cyprus, that in few days will be coming in a declaration. So it's endorsed by the AAAT and the other key European stakeholders, and the declaration is a call to action for universities, governments, and accreditation bodies to make 3 things. First is embed accessibility and universal design as essential, rights-based component in all academic programs. Ensure inclusive teaching practices and curriculum design across discipline, not just a technical field. Align higher education with the international framework frameworks like UN Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, the European Accessibility Act, and the Sustainable Development Goals. And we have key priorities with this call to action. So reform policies and accreditation standards so accessibility becomes mandatory in curricula, provide training for educators, we talked earlier, and leaders on accessibility and design for all, involve people with disability directly in curriculum design evaluation, and also, really important, encourage interdisciplinary collaboration across education, policy, and employment industry, let's say. So I will be this declaration will be officially signed on the 11th September in a few days in Nicosia. I really invite you to sign. It will be online on the Triple AT website, the DDF website. So this is really important in order to make real concrete changes. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We definitely will sign the declaration, and I think it's a very important development. You, Pomir?
Yes, thanks. I mentioned several times in some minutes only that cooperation, collaboration, interoperability with institutions are necessary. Still, it doesn't work in general as we want it to work. And I mentioned chambers, I mentioned all other associations, professional associations, because we know we were students, okay? We were studying minimum 4 to 5 years, who knows how much maximum, but it is a very short period in our life. And then life afterwards, to speak about employment normally, starts. So we need interaction in this action. Nothing new, but it is not done. And speaking about this long life learning, normally this has to be a key. It can be, but we have to work on this. It has to be a key action for efficient knowledge, including normally practical experiences and so on. So let me tell you, this proposal is very simple. This fantastic project in which we are doing our best, Accessible Europe, will last till the end of next year. But now it is a time to think about how to prolong this effort, how to prolong this platform of results that we shall have at the end of next year. So this is the idea, to give this idea to European Union or to all of us to try to continue, because we will made a perfect material never seen before. This platform can be a platform for the next education, not higher, but after higher education that includes doctoral thesis, research, and so on and so on. So this is simple, but this is crucial. This is, in this moment, very, very important to be on time, to inform European Union, who is controlling very correctly our work, and to give this opportunity to all of us to be together, because when we are together, we are stronger. We know this. And 1 minute more. This is a coincidence. This is something very appropriate, because speaking about Mediterranean, Cyprus, from Portugal to Cyprus, okay, to Turkey, we know the space of Mediterranean. I'm calling you, including myself, to reactivate in association that is called UMAR, UMAR. This is Union of Mediterranean Architects. So we have regional bodies, regional professional associations in which we are, like Croatia, not participating. And I know that we don't have slides because it is not PowerPoint, but maybe it will be. It's not sharp enough, but maybe in the moment it will be visible. No, I cannot. This is a map of countries that are participating actively in the moment in this union of Mediterranean architects, not to speak only about built environment. And in this association, there is one of committees is called Inclusive Resilient City Committees, because we have to cover more than our schools, we have to cover more than our cities, we have to cover with our responsibility and knowledge, we have to cover the whole European Union and wider, if possible. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Let's thank our panelists. I think they gave us lots of ideas for action and made us realize that it's much more than, accessibility is much more than laws, and including it in formal in curricula and in laws. They gave us practical examples and ideas of how this is feasible in practice. Thank you. And now we can move for a coffee break.